I'm Jim Rooney, President and CEO of the Greater Boston Chamber of Commerce, and you look beautiful. Welcome to the kickoff of Boston Talks About Racism. When the topic of race comes up here in Boston, people are always sure to point out that we've come a long way, but we have more work to do. Well, as a demonstration of just how far we've come, in me, you have a guy who grew up in Southie, is here representing the Boston business community, and is opening a year-long discussion about race in Boston. When was the last time that happened? Now, for a meaningful discussion to take place, we all have to be at the table and invite others. One message I bring here today is that the business community is grateful that we've been invited and we want to be part of this conversation. The privilege and success of our businesses and business leaders that they have enjoyed come with a responsibility to engage on issues of racial inequality and economic mobility. The Boston Chamber is a member organization that represents nearly 1,500 businesses across our region. Our purpose is to make Greater Boston the best place in the world for businesses and individuals to thrive. All businesses and all individuals, and we plan to get to work. I want to kick things off by thanking everyone in the room for being here. This is amazing to have all these people show up on a Saturday morning to talk about a difficult subject. I'm not surprised. We're Boston, right? We show up when it counts. Give yourself and the people around you a round of applause for showing up today. Now, that attitude comes from the top, our mayor, Marty Walsh. He shows up when it counts, particularly when it comes to solving deep-rooted, persistent problems that are holding our city and state back from achieving success as we all want to think about it. Join me in thanking Mayor Walsh for showing up on this issue and having the courage to lead the discussion about racism. A recent report by the Brookings Institute and the Federal Reserve Bank ranked Boston #1 in terms of economic inequality. That's not the Boston Marty Walsh wants to be mayor of, and that's not the Boston I want to be the president of the chamber in. And to that end, I want you to know that while I appreciate the value of talking and listening and conversation, and I appreciate the importance of understanding concepts of privilege and unconscious bias, all important to this journey, the chamber, our board, our members, our staff, will also be engaged in action-oriented processes over the next year in partnership with the Mayor's Office and others on issues of small business, board diversity, economic mobility, access, education, workforce development, and jobs. And we'll be looking at these issues, thank you. And we'll be looking at these issues, considering solutions with racial equity lenses. Talk and understanding needs to be accompanied by action, and the Boston Chamber wants to work with you in meaningful ways that we can continue to build the economic success for our community and for all its people. As I said, I'm here on behalf of the business community, but also because this is something deeply personal to me. I'm a Southie kid who grew up in a city that had pockets of grittiness and places that were pretty run down. Certainly not the economic success story we're experiencing today. In fact, the Southie of my youth in the 60s and 70s was once featured in a magazine article for being the poorest white urban neighborhood in America. Of course, we didn't know we were poor, and our poverty certainly didn't reach the depths experienced by others. And our hardships were not accompanied by the racism experienced by peoples of different colors or speakers of different languages. But anyone who lived through or has taken the time to learn about Boston's past knows that those were tough years in our city, not just economically, but racially. People of different ethnic backgrounds and races just didn't like each other. I'm not talking just about the black and white thing. I'm talking about Irish and Catholic, I'm talking about Charlestown and West Roxbury. I'm talking about African American and Haitian and Hispanic and Asian. We all had issues with each other. If you grew up in this city, and probably many other U.S. cities during those times, that was your normal. We had hurtful names for every group you can think of, and we were taught stereotypes about each other that were born of ignorance. But like that article said, most of us were poor and we just didn't know it. But our differences, race, neighborhood, gave us someone else to blame for our circumstances. And our history in Boston is filled with moments, some of them horrific and hateful, that have served to drive us further apart. As a city, we're hanging on to a whole lot of messed up crap. That hurtfulness, that ignorance, that divisiveness, it's still buried inside us in ways we may not fully understand. It's time to get it out and have the uncomfortable conversations, but, and this is important, we need to do it with respect and empathy. As we talk about race today and over the coming year, the challenge will be to have those uncomfortable conversations without feeling a need to win the debate or make others shut down by forcing our point of view on them. My whole life and career has in many ways been shaped by my love for this city. We have so many strengths as a community, but we do have issues that threaten our ability to grow and succeed together as a city. And racism and economic mobility and access have been among them for my whole life. It's not just how we treat each other, but how we see each other, and also how other people perceive Boston. We know that Boston is not always perceived as a racially diverse or welcoming city. From a competitiveness, economic, business, and jobs perspective, that hurts us all, but together we can turn that around. Across the country, issues of race are more prominent than they have been in some time, and much of this is driven by the most recent national election. If we don't start addressing this issue with open, honest conversations where we listen to one another and understand more about ourselves, it will become a poison that will impact our ability to grow and be successful. With Mayor Walsh as our leader and with you, an engaged citizenry, we can do some bold Boston revolutionary thinking. Boston and Massachusetts can be a model for how cities can embrace diversity, cultural differences, and create opportunities for all in a way that makes our economy, communities, and individuals thrive. We know the Chamber has an important role to play in that. And looking around this room, I see many leaders who live and work in Boston who are ready to focus in a spirit of community on making change. I want to give a shout out to all of the Chamber team members and business members for being here today. Thank you all for being engaged, and thank you for contributing to the work needed to make sure Boston is a welcoming, safe, and thriving city for all businesses and all individuals. Thank you for showing up, Boston. Have a great day.
You know, I'm proud of the progress that we've made, our leadership has made in this city over the last 3 years. We're no strangers to inequality. Yesterday or today, we're certainly not immune to history in our city. We know the unique struggles of our country. Religious bigotry and racism arrived with the first colonists.